We start with a warning. This episode of Trifecta includes graphic violence and may not be suitable for sensitive viewers. One of the most gentle, intelligent individuals on the planet suddenly snaps and attacks a little girl. What went wrong? I'm PJTV's Scott Ott, joined now by Stephen Green and Bill Whittle. Well, men, he seemed to have it all. Good looks, above average intelligence, a comfortable place to live, surrounded by friends, spending his days with few responsibilities, lots of smiles, free health care, and a seemingly never-ending supply of free food. And then this.
Did you touch him yet, James? You gotta touch him underneath.
You touch him underneath? Can I help you? Don't move it.
Mom, I'm out of fish.
Whoa, whoa, whoa.
Well, first of all, for our viewers who will be panicked at the little girl, she's okay. Got some injuries on her hand, but she's okay. But the authorities are now honing in on the words that seemed to trigger the attack. And you heard it right there. The victim said, "I'm out of fish." Now, Bill Whittle, first, I guess I should apologize to you and to our viewers for calling the little girl a victim. I mean, after all, it seems like it was her own actions that caused the attack. Wasn't she responsible to make sure she had a backup supply of mackerel in case the first container ran out?
Well, first thing I'll say is they need to put that dolphin down. In fact, they probably need to put all the dolphins down, because once they've tasted man flesh, it's just a matter of time before they devise a way to build walking machines that will allow them to roam the countryside at will and devour children wherever they may find them. So I think we need to get ahead of this. And I'd like to remind people that as a trusted member of the news media, I, for one, welcome our dolphin overlords. And I'd like to remind them that as a trusted member of the news media, I can be useful in rounding up other humans to serve in their outdoor mackerel distribution centers. Look, she said she's out of fish. The dolphin said, "Hey, baby, you being out of fish is not my problem. I'm here to eat the fish. I do my little hoop thing. I do the tail thing. I do the thing, and you get me the fish. And if you're out of fish, that's not my problem. It's your problem." You know, there's so much to learn from this. And remember, by the way, let's not forget, ladies and gentlemen, that dolphins are so much more spiritually advanced than humans. They're the ones that you can find out at outer space in cosmic yoga trips. You know, they're sort of the superintendents of the galaxy. And whenever you take an astral journey, you can count on a dolphin being there to guide your way because of their incredible kindness. Turns out that just like human beings, they're biological creatures that are determined to be fed. And when the food supply starts to run short, they get a little nasty. They're much like Greeks in this regard.
Well, Stephen Green, we all know that humans have more fish than they need. And frankly, humans make up what? Like 1% of all the biological life on Earth. And yet they have so much more fish than they need, so much that they often store it in vast refrigerated vaults. Didn't that dolphin have a right to expect more fish? And in light of that fact, wasn't his reaction to the sudden fish famine totally reasonable and justifiable?
Well, let me be clear. Let me be perfectly clear. There are those who say that this little girl should be treated to a complete battery of blood tests to determine if she is carrying any communicable diseases that she could have given to that dolphin. And if so, she needs to wear a warning label so that no other dolphins are endangered by her reckless action of presenting her flesh and her blood where they could be sampled. On the other side, there are those who say that we need to wipe out the dolphins, render them extinct along with all oceanic mammals such as whales, and hope that someday in the future a giant space probe doesn't come and try and communicate with them, accidentally interfering with the Earth's electronics and threatening all of humanity as well. I in the reasonable middle say that this is just one of the funniest videos I've ever seen in my life, and I feel really awful for laughing at it.
Thank you, President Obama.
Well, Bill, you know, some people think that the dolphins should go out in the wild and catch his own fish. But they don't realize that mackerel and smelts can be very hard to find, and the dolphin could go hungry for hours, maybe even days.
It could require a little bit of effort on those dolphins. Those dolphins were looking a little chunky to me, frankly, if you really wanted to know. They didn't exactly look as sleek as I remember them in my youth. Looked like they'd been handed a lot of mackerel in those days. Obviously, Scotty, if the dolphins are released into the wild and they have to catch their own fish, the dolphins will either develop a sense of personal responsibility for feeding themselves or they'll starve. And speaking of personal responsibility, I'd like to point out the little banner, the little placard that the father who shot this video put at the end of the video. Do we have that available there, guys in the tech booth? Can we see what the little message that Dad put at the end of that video? Hey, look at that. Thank God it didn't pull her into the water. It's only a matter of time before someone gets seriously injured at this unbelievably awesome attraction. You know what that's really saying? That's really saying that of all the children that have lined up to feed mackerels for all that time and had had that experience of interacting directly with the dolphins, and it is a transcendental experience, by the way. I've actually been in tanks with dolphins with trainers. It's a transcendental experience, like seeing whales out at sea. That's transcendental too. So what Dad is saying here is, because I was so busy filming my daughter that I didn't have time to supervise her the way undoubtedly 10,000 signs that we don't see have advised her to do. Warning, under adult supervision only, I assure you, is there. And somewhere in there too is, feed the dolphins at your own risk. I guarantee you that's in there too. But no, Dad's too busy filming Precious Snowflake. She got bit on her hand and caused some distress. And now Dad undoubtedly would like to see this entire thing shut down for his malfeasance and for his inability to understand what at your own risk means. See, to me, this is the real story of this. It's that little placard at the end that says that 100,000 children having a blast over the course of 100,000 days is irrelevant. Somebody's daughter wasn't paying attention. Somebody's dad wasn't paying attention. She's got a hole in her hand now. Let's shut the whole thing down.
What's really precious at the end there is how the father wants to videotape the actual wounds on the girl's hand. And if you go and watch this video, you'll see that. And she doesn't want to show it to him. She's crying. She doesn't want to show it to him. And her mother promises her that they won't show it to anybody. Now the thing's gone viral on the internet. That's got to feel good. Steve, if the owners of SeaWorld were to release the dolphins into the ocean, then SeaWorld would lose a source of income and, frankly, their entire reason for being. I mean, don't you agree that it's important to keep these magnificent, intelligent creatures in captivity and to keep the free fish coming?
Well, I think you're missing the problem here, and that is that too many, maybe millions of dolphins go to bed hungry each night. So what I propose is a multi-billion-dollar program to develop a green technology ATM machine that will accept EBT cards that dolphins can use. And again, we're going to need to invest more money in developing an EBT card that can be manipulated by a dolphin flipper. And that way, a dolphin can get the food it needs at any time without any sort of human intervention. And we will sleep sounder knowing that no dolphin in this country goes to bed hungry.
Well, no offense to SeaWorld or to their millions of delighted, uninjured annual visitors, but no self-respecting dolphin wants to live in a tank and eat dead fish from the hand of its master. God made dolphins to swim wild, dive deep, hunt and catch and eat fresh fish. In the raucous ocean, they actually self-organize and hunt in packs, driving a school of mackerel toward the surface, where seabirds and tuna often snag some of their surplus profits. Yes, there's danger in the ocean's heaving, foaming mountains, but in the adventure of dodging the danger, there's freedom. People come to SeaWorld to see dolphins, but that wasn't a dolphin that bit that little girl, now, was it? For Bill Whittle and Stephen Green and the entire Trifecta crew at PJTV.com, I'm Scott Ott.